We are joined by Uncle Lazer. Definitely an old boy. Lazer, good to have you on, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, Olson. I literally woke up 5 minutes ago and tried to scramble to download this app. I'm a piece of shit, so that's on me. My bad.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You fucking, hey, comedians, brother, you live by the night. You know what I mean? Gotta sleep. Yeah, just because we decided 1 o'clock, maybe that's an overlook on my part. I need to understand the business. Book that fucking shit a little later.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, hey, great to have you on. And like I was telling you a little bit before we started, I was, in preparing for our discussion, I've followed all your stuff. I love your content. We're going to talk about some wrestling shit in a bit too, because I feel like we grew up during that same attitude era and enjoyed wrestling during that bullshit and all that fun stuff. But one thing I learned was, I thought you were a comedian and then were using social media, obviously, to promote your comedy. But it's actually the other way around. So let's kind of go back a little bit, because you've only really been doing this full time for less than 2 years. So I know you're from Texas. Talk a little bit about where you're from and what was like the day job before this became work.
So I was, I'm from a little small village about 2 hours south of Houston. Okay. I went to community college for half a semester because I'm not real good at that. But I got to the oil field when I was 19 and I worked my way up. And by the end of it, I was directional drilling for ConocoPhillips and like all throughout New Mexico, the West Texas Permian Basin and shit like that. And basically how it happened, I've always been pretty outlandish and funny. I love, center of attention at a party type shit. But I played at the time, it was right before the pandemic started. At the time, I just had a private Facebook and a Snapchat, and a boy that I used to play travel baseball with back in the day, in high school baseball with, he's like, man, send me these Snapchat videos. I'm going to make you a TikTok. And I said, I don't know what the fuck that means, but let's do it. All right. And like what it was, I remember, I'll never forget, I got off of work at like 6 p.m. and I went on a jog. I would jog like a couple miles when I get off of work. And I remember I'm on the lease road in the middle of New Mexico, and I make this video about when Miley Cyrus said everybody in line for the bathroom, trying to do lines in the bathroom. I felt that because I do drugs, but I'm quitting, but it's summer, so we'll see, And it basically I did this stupid ass, little vlog thing. It was like a minute 30. And I seen it to him when I got done running. I showered, I went to bed. And when I got up in the morning, 6 a.m. to go to work, he'd like blown my phone up when he was getting ready. He's like, dude, look at the video. It had like 8 million views and I had 60,000 followers overnight. My first video ever posted. And it's just like, what the fuck is happening? I had to change I had my actual real name on my TikTok account, but my videos were like, they're like sexual innuendos to single mothers and drug references. I'm like, if HR gets a hold of this, they're going to fire my ass. So then I had to come up with the name Uncle Lazer.
Yes. That's fucking hilarious. It's crazy though how some of these social accounts start just like that, right? Just being yourself, fucking off, getting it out there, and it just fucking trends with people. It's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy how that algorithm. It shit scares the hell out of me. But yeah, it worked out to my advantage, and then one thing kind of snowballed to another. I used to date this witch a long time ago, and she tried to stab me with her.
You wouldn't believe this, Lazer, but this is the second witch reference on the Old Boy podcast. The first one was Bryce Mitchell coming on. You know Bryce Mitchell, UFC fighter?
Yeah, the UFC, great guy. Yeah.
So Bryce came on, and I was asking him where he found his devotion for the Lord, and he said he fucked a witch, which then got possessed by a demon and would not leave his house for 2 or 3 days until he asked the Lord to leave it. So just want to let you know,
really?
not the first witch reference, but the second one.
Well, she didn't put no demon on. She put a spell on me. She gave me a UTI once. That was great. You know what I'm saying? But no, dude, one night she undercooked the chicken, and I was like, hey, we can't eat that. You've undercooked that. She goes, I like my chicken rare. I was like, that's not such a thing. It's a rare chicken. I said, that's how you get fucking salmonella, Jessica. What are we doing? Let's try to stab me with a knife when I was sleeping later at night. Anyways, but long story short, a buddy of mine had a birthday party down here in Austin. We went out one evening. It was on a Sunday. And we went to this place called Latchkey, this bar down in East 6. And we walked in. I've been playing music my whole life. I've been playing harmonica since I was like 12. And I walked in and the band was really good. And I know when it ain't just like playing good songs. I'm like, these boys are tight. And I was like, damn, this band's really good. And she's like, well, I used to I used to fuck the lead singer. I used to date the guitar player. I was like, I hate this band very much. I hope they get on a car accident on their way home. You know. But then later, like a couple days later, a buddy of mine, Ellis Bullard, was playing in New Braunfels where I was living at the time, and they just happened to be opening for him. And I went up to the bar and I started drinking whiskey with the lead singer. We hit it off, exchanged Instagrams. Well, they at the time, I don't know if you're familiar with Kill Tony, Tony Hinchcliffe. So at the time, Kill Tony had just moved to Austin and they were performing at the Vulcan. They weren't performing at Rogan's Mothership Club yet because it wasn't finished being built. And after the Kill Tony show, they would be the after party band that would play for everybody because everybody used to stay after the show and hang out and shit. It was a real cool vibe. And he's like, man, we would be doing silly shit on the internet together. And he's like, man, dude, you should come meet Hinchcliffe. He's like, I think you'd be good at this little stand-in. So the first time I got on Kill Tony, the very first time I was pulled, that was the first time I'd ever been on stage ever doing stand-up comedy.
No
ever.
shit. On like the largest fucking live podcast in the world.
And honestly, at that time, I had no idea what the fuck it was. And honestly, I think looking back now, had I known the severity of how big it was and what it was, I think I would have clammed up and wouldn't have done it. But I just look, dude, I just throw bad dick at good people and hope it sticks. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's just where I'm at in life, you know?
That's crazy. So at that time, I mean, obviously you kind of get thrown into it. So you're not really like working material at the time, right? You're just kind of being yourself and just fucking off the cuff, right? Or am I got that wrong?
So no, you're exactly right. What it was, dude, I was just firing from the hip. You know what I'm saying? And it was only eventually you run out of fucking bullets. You know what I'm talking about? So it took me, the first couple of appearances, because looking back now, I can't even really watch them because I just see like you got to watch yourself back in comedy. It's like watching film if you like play sports. You got to see what works. Like what pops right there. Well, back then, dude, I was dog shit. It was cringy. Like watching it back, I'm like, God damn, I was terrible. But I had enough charisma and good hair to get me by. But I was like, at one point, I'm like, dude, if I'm going to quit my job and go out on the road, I can't give people a dog shit product. Yes. I really have to start writing. It's a difference between being funny in the garage or funny at a party than it is being funny on stage. It's structurally different. It's formatted different. And it just took me a little bit of time. And I'm still, every day I'm learning. Like I don't ever stop learning how to be, good at stand-up. It's just, it took me a minute to understand because I was just thrusting. Because instead of eating dicks at a coffee shop, at an open mic in front of 7 people that don't want to be there, I'm eating dicks in front of 200 people at a secret show, red band show. And I'm just like, oh, I'm doing great. No, dude, I was trash. I was trash.
And these are comedy fucking people. Like these people know about secret shows. Like these are people that consume comedy because they fucking like comedy. They're not there getting tuned up before they go to the fucking club. These are people that like they love comedy and they're there. And you've got to me what I've learned, and obviously never done stand up, but like in teaching barbecue or places where there's 100 fucking people looking at you expecting you to do something for them. I'm a very fast talker anyway, so I would just fucking talk faster, which is the worst thing. Which is the worst thing you want to do because you get through your material quicker, and nobody can understand half the shit you said. So as I got a little bit better and more reps, I realized it's cadence. And fucking sometimes quiet and pause is your best friend. Yes.
Sitting in silence. A lot of people are scared of the silence. They think they're bombing. But honestly, silence means they're listening, right? So like it's how you take it. But you're right with like it's rhythmic, right? It's a cadence, it's a timing. It's like sitting in sometimes I'll sit in a pause and do like goofy ass facial expressions. And just that in itself is more powerful than the joke. It like emphasizes the joke, the punchline even harder. And there's little things you pick up. You're like every day sometimes I find some of the best cause this is the thing. I played music my whole life and you can practice, by yourself. You can practice with your band. Now you can practice stand-up comedy. You can write that joke and you can say it in the fucking mirror. But until you get on stage in front of a live audience, you will not know how it will be reciprocated. You will not know where your points of contact are actually. Sometimes the parts of tags that I thought would be the funniest got crickets. And then just transitional shit I said, like off the cuff shit, got the best pop. So then I'm like, all right, got to write that down. Got to keep that one,
Well, and the other part too is when you look out there, and you can rehearse that shit all day, but then when you start reading people's body language, right? You like you said, you're onto this one where you're like, dude, this is a killer. This is one of my top 3. You know what I mean? Or like for me in a barbecue side, like I'm talking about brisket, motherfuckers. Y'all should be interested. This is brisket. This is all the shit y'all always fucking ask about. Oh, I got this guy over here checking his phone. I got this guy fucking checking out the dude next to, like, what the fuck's going, like, then you start questioning yourself, right? Like, dude, this is supposed to be what you're here for, and you guys are, looking off this and that. Like, how do you bring it back,
Yeah. And not to go off topic, but with the barbecue shit, I'm going to be honest with you real quick. So it wasn't until I was about 18 years old until I got out on my own that you could cook a steak not well done. Okay.
Dude.
See, my daddy and them would pick up dead deer off the side of the road, and they take that meat home and they bleach that meat and they'd have to burn it to a crisp. But we had groceries for a month. You know what I'm saying? So I've been eating ketchup with my steak my entire life because I didn't want it to taste like a fucking rubber boot. You know what I'm talking about?
Dude, I got one for that. This is a great tangent. So I was the same way, man. I grew up in a just well done family. And didn't know any different, So I go down, probably I'm 14, 15 years old, go down to my buddy's house. We're riding four-wheelers and shit. Well, his dad's a beef farmer. And so he's like, dude, Chad, why don't you stay for dinner tonight? I'm like, yes, sir, man, I'm on it. And he goes, I'm cooking steaks. How do you want yours? I said, man, I'll take mine well done. He said, I'll cook you a fucking hamburger. And I said, what? I said, what do you mean, Mr. Waters? He's like, I'm not wasting one of my good fucking steaks off my cow for well done. And I said,
man.
And I said, okay. I said, I'll have mine the way you have yours then. And man, that shit was like a good rare to medium rare, bro.
Perfect.
I took that first fucking bite, and it was like, I'm fucking filing charges against I filed charges against my parents for fucking child abuse, bro. Fuck that. But dude, there is something about, so that's even to the point now, like we've got t-shirts here at Whiskey Ben BBQ that like say, don't kill it twice. Like I'm a firm believer.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
But no, I'm glad you put us on that tangent.
Well, dude. Yeah, dude. And so, hell yeah.
The